A woman only respects you when you detach completely. Modern Stoic. Love is not about possession. Love is about appreciation. Osho. In today's world, many men fail to realize a crucial truth about relationships. A woman will only truly respect you when you learn to detach completely. What does detachment mean in this context? It means taking a step back, both emotionally and physically. When you sense that respect in the relationship is waning, it's not about playing games or ignoring her for no reason, but rather understanding that respect is rooted in strength, emotional independence, and the ability to walk away if necessary. It's about showing that you value yourself more than seeking validation from anyone else. Here's the truth: when you're constantly available, overly accommodating, or emotionally dependent on someone who seems to be pulling away, you're unknowingly shifting the power dynamic. She feels this imbalance. When you start putting her ahead of your own needs and desires, that's when respect begins to slip away. The key is to embody the mindset of a man who prioritizes his life, his goals, and his well-being over the transient whims of others. Detachment works because it resets the entire relationship dynamic. The moment you stop chasing and focus on living for yourself, it sparks something deep within her. She begins to notice the shift. The attention she once took for granted is no longer guaranteed, and that's when the respect you thought was lost begins to return. This isn't manipulation or punishment. It's about setting clear boundaries. It's about protecting your dignity, not begging for affection. A man who knows how to detach isn't afraid to stand alone, and he sees his worth beyond the fleeting approval of others. In this discussion, we'll explore how detachment fosters respect, how to do it without becoming emotionally distant, and how embracing this philosophy not only strengthens your relationships but also boosts your confidence as a man. If you've ever felt like you're being taken for granted or losing your footing in a relationship, the insights you're about to hear could change how you approach not just your relationships, but life itself. 1. Why chasing kills her respect instantly. One of the biggest mistakes men make in relationships is believing that the harder they chase, the more she'll love them. But that's far from the truth. The moment you start chasing, you've already lost the game. You've shifted the power dynamic. Instead of being the man she values, you've become the man she manages. Nada. Chasing signals that she's the prize and you're the one trying to win her over. The result: you immediately lower your own value in her eyes without even realizing it. Women are naturally drawn to men who stand firm in their own worth, men who don't need constant validation or approval. The second you place her on a pedestal, she starts looking down. It's human nature. We tend to value what's rare and take for granted what's always available. The more you make yourself constantly accessible, the less she'll feel the need to work for your attention. It's simple, really. When you chase, you're teaching her that your presence isn't valuable. It's always there, always available, no matter what. And once she realizes she doesn't have to earn it, respect begins to fade. Stop the constant texting, stop rearranging your life just to see her, and definitely stop overcompensating to keep her interested. You're conditioning her to believe that she doesn't need to do anything to keep you around. And that's the surest way to destroy the attraction. Chasing also brings pressure, and pressure kills attraction. When she senses you're desperately trying to win her over, it doesn't come across as love, it comes across as neediness. Desperation isn't confidence, and confidence is the foundation of respect. Now think of the alpha approach, which is a product of the modern Stoic mindset. It's simple: you lead, she follows. Leading doesn't mean never initiating or showing interest. It means not over-investing in someone who isn't matching your energy. If she pulls back, you don't chase, you slow down. If she distances herself, you don't bombard her with messages, and instead, you give her space to come to you. That's the Stoic approach, emotional discipline and control, the blessing of Stoicism, where you don't need to chase or beg, you lead by example. The moment you stop chasing, you stop signaling that she is the center of your world. You show her that your life, your goals, and your values are non-negotiable. You make it clear that your attention is earned, not given away for free. And that shift in perception makes all the difference. She will now realize your attention isn't guaranteed, and that's when the tides turn. She starts working to earn your respect, your time, your attention. That's when you'll see the real shift in her behavior. Remember this: women respect men who aren't afraid to walk away from anything that doesn't meet their standards. Chasing is the fastest way to lower your value. So, if you want her respect, stop running after her. Instead, run after your own growth, your mission, your goals. When you do that, she will start running after you. The old Stoic understood this deeply. A man who has his own path, his own vision, is a man to be respected. Live that way and watch her respect and attraction grow naturally. 2. The power of walking away without warning. If you've ever watched The Dark Knight, you'll remember the Joker's chilling words to Batman. "You have nothing to threaten me with." That, right there, is the essence of power in relationships. When you aren't afraid to walk away, you become untouchable. This is more than just a technique. It's a Stoic principle in action, a lesson on detachment, self-worth, and the blessing of Stoicism that every man must embrace. Let's face it, when a man is ready to leave without warning, that's when his true power is revealed. It's not about playing games or punishing anyone. It's about taking control of your life and setting boundaries that protect your dignity. Walking away without a word of warning is one of the most powerful moves a man can make when he feels a woman's respect fading. The key here is detachment. The Stoic way, when you start to warn her that you might leave, or complain about how she treats you, you're no longer commanding respect. You've shifted into begging territory. No man of value ever begs for respect. He demands it through actions, not words. By constantly expressing your unhappiness, you signal weakness and desperation. You're negotiating from a position of powerlessness. That's not strength. That's just a last-ditch effort for validation. However, when you simply detach and walk away with no dramatic speeches or lengthy discussions, you shift the entire power dynamic. You don't chase her, you don't beg, and you certainly don't apologize for having standards. Instead, you leave her with the silence, with the unanswered questions, and a realization: this man didn't need me as much as I thought. The respect begins to return. The surprise element of walking away without warning is what makes it so potent. Imagine a movie scene where the hero walks away from a huge explosion without even looking back. That image lingers, doesn't it? It has power because it's unexpected. It's the essence of Stoic life: calm, composed, unshaken by emotional turmoil. When you walk away quietly, without fanfare, you stop her from having the satisfaction of a dramatic goodbye. She no longer gets to play the victim or make you the bad guy. She is left with nothing but the void of your absence. And trust me, that's 1,000 times more painful than any argument or emotional outburst could ever be. When you leave without warning, it's not just a departure, it's a statement of your value. You're telling her that your worth is not up for debate, and you won't stick around to be disrespected. The lesson here is clear: respect is tied to unpredictability. A woman begins to respect you when she knows you're capable of walking away at any moment. She realizes that if she's not adding value to your life, you won't be there to fill the void. She has to keep showing up, or you'll disappear. It's a dynamic shift, one that doesn't require endless discussions, but rather one decisive action. The real beauty of this Stoic approach is that sometimes walking away without warning doesn't mean the end of the relationship. No, it's often about resetting the relationship's foundation. You've communicated that you're not a man who will tolerate mediocrity or disrespect. You've drawn your line in the sand. Whether she comes back or not doesn't matter, because you've already won. You've shown her that you're not afraid to leave, and that's something she won't forget. In the end, the blessing of Stoicism lies in mastering your emotions, recognizing your self-worth, and taking decisive action when needed. Men who master this understand that sometimes the most profound way to command respect is to simply detach and walk away. 3. How scarcity makes you more valuable. Scarcity is the secret to increasing your value. Imagine your favorite coffee shop. You walk in every day, and it's predictable. The barista knows your order, and within minutes, your drink is ready. It's comfortable, familiar, and convenient. But then one day, there's a sign closed for renovations, reopens in 2 weeks. You feel a pang of loss. Suddenly, you miss that coffee, that atmosphere. The fact that it's unavailable makes you crave it. That's the power of scarcity. Now apply this principle to relationships. If you're constantly available, always responding to texts instantly, always ready to hang out, always putting her needs above your own, you become predictable. Like that coffee shop that's always open, you lose your value. She doesn't have to earn your attention or time because she knows it's always within reach. You're taken for granted. But when you pull back, when you create space, you allow her to miss you, and missing you is what makes her value you. This is where Stoic principles come into play. You must master the art of detachment. Stoicism teaches us that when we stop giving away our time freely, we show that we have priorities and standards, and that we are not at the mercy of anyone. When you're scarce, you become something rare, something she has to work for. Think about it. Limited edition items, whether shoes or a collector's watch, are highly sought after because of their rarity. A pair of shoes sitting on a shelf for months gets ignored, but when they're released in limited quantities, people will line up for hours to get a pair. The scarcity creates desire. It creates value. This is not manipulation, it's basic human psychology. The same applies to relationships. You must not hand out your time like a free sample. You must recognize that your time, energy, and attention are your most valuable resources. The Stoic man knows this. His life is full of purpose. He has his mission, his priorities, his standards. He doesn't let anyone other than including a woman take him for granted. Self-respect is communicated through scarcity. When you make yourself scarce, you're signaling that your life is meaningful, that your time is precious, and that your attention is earned, not given away on demand. This is not about playing games or ignoring her intentionally. It's about living a life so full, so rich, that you can't just drop everything at her call. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. When you follow Stoic principles, you do not allow external forces to control your actions. You remain centered in your own life. When you embrace this idea, the time you spend together becomes far more valuable. Like that coffee shop reopening after 2 weeks. It's now a special event. She becomes fully engaged and present because she knows it's not something she can take for granted. Scarcity makes moments matter. Now ask yourself, are you handing out your presence like an all-you-can-eat buffet? Or are you treating it like a fine dining experience that must be earned? The answer will dictate not only her respect, but also how she values your role in her life. The Stoic man does not rush, does not overextend, and does not settle. He understands that his attention, like his time, is a rare commodity that must be respected. Apply this principle to your life and watch how everything changes. If you found this insight valuable, make sure to like, comment, and share it with someone who could benefit from this wisdom. Don't forget to subscribe for more powerful tips on personal growth and relationships. Comment to remember I am a high-value man. My time is earned, not given. 4. The silent shift that makes her rethink everything. Most men, when relationships start to falter, instinctively think that the solution lies in endless discussions. They sit her down, express their feelings, and try to convince her of their worth. But here's the cold, hard truth: the more you talk, the more power you lose. It's a brutal reality, but it's true. Why? Because respect isn't lost through words alone. It's lost through actions. You see, women don't lose respect for you because of what you say, but because of what you do, or more accurately, what you fail to do. Words might provide temporary comfort, but actions speak volumes. And when she's already emotionally pulling away, your words are just noise, nothing more. The silent shift is the modern Stoic's secret weapon. It's about making a change without any fanfare. No, we need to talk or long, drawn-out conversations. You stop chasing her, stop over-explaining, and stop desperately trying to win her back. You simply begin to focus on yourself, your life, your goals, your mission, your growth. This isn't an easy pill to swallow, and it certainly flies in the face of conventional wisdom, which teaches us that communication is the answer to everything. But here's the paradox in male-female dynamics, especially when attraction starts to wane. Over-communication often does more harm than good. She already knows how you feel. What she's not feeling is a desire to reciprocate that affection. And no amount of pleading or explaining will reignite that spark. When you embrace the silent shift, you don't just disappear emotionally. You start showing up for yourself. The key here is not coldness, but a shift in energy. You become less emotionally available. You're no longer that guy who's constantly chasing validation, and she notices why. Because silence forces reflection. When you stop reacting, you give her space to miss the man she once admired. She starts to wonder why you're no longer chasing her, why you're not as available, why you seem more content with your own life. The uncertainty you create does something profound. It flips the dynamic. She starts seeking your validation, not the other way around. This isn't a game. It's a decision grounded in the blessing of Stoicism. You're not wasting your energy on someone who isn't reciprocating. Ironically, this is often the moment when she starts to appreciate what she might lose. Suddenly, she's texting more, showing up unexpectedly, and even apologizing. And it's not magic, it's psychology. Like, people value what they're at risk of losing. And when you stop explaining yourself, stop making grand declarations about how you're going to change, you create an absence that speaks louder than any words ever could. Your absence makes her question, why isn't he chasing me anymore? And that is when she begins to chase you. So, don't announce your next move. Let your actions do the talking. In embracing the modern Stoic mindset, you stop over-explaining and start living your life with purpose. And in doing so, you'll realize that the real power lies not in the words you say, but in the silent shifts you make. Don't beg for respect. Be the man who doesn't need to chase it. You must trust that when you stop explaining yourself, that's when she starts explaining to herself why she wants you back. 5. When less attention creates more desire. Think about the thrill of a great game, basketball, football, or boxing. The crowd's energy reaches its peak when the game is tight, unpredictable, and every move counts. But when one team dominates from the beginning, when the outcome is a foregone conclusion, the excitement drains away, the suspense fades, and so does the passion. The game becomes a bore. The same thing happens in relationships. When you give a woman constant attention, affection, and availability, you've made the outcome too easy for her. She has all of you, all the time, and when there's no challenge, there's no excitement. Without excitement, desire wanes. Less attention doesn't mean neglecting her or playing mind games. It means maintaining the spark by not laying everything on the table right away. When you're selective with your time and energy, you create a sense of anticipation. A woman starts to look forward to your attention, knowing it's not always a guarantee, and when she does get it, it feels earned. The value of your presence is recognized and appreciated. Think about the best athletes. They know the importance of pacing. They don't burn all their energy in the first quarter. They pick their moments, knowing when to attack, when to defend, and when to let the crowd go wild. As a man, you need to adopt the same mindset in relationships. You can't be on all the time, and you have to take moments to pull back, to focus on yourself, and let her wonder what's occupying your time and thoughts. That's when you show your strength, not by being present 24/7, but by having your own life outside of her. This is where the blessing of Stoicism comes in. You must become the man who knows his value without needing constant validation. The Stoic lessons teach us this: be present when it counts. But don't lose yourself in the constant flow of attention-seeking. When you step back, you elevate your worth. When you believe in your own strength, you don't need to be desperate for her approval. A man who doesn't constantly shower a woman with attention is a man who has confidence in himself. He trusts that what he brings to the table is enough to keep her interested, even when he's not giving her every bit of himself. You stop coming off as needy or desperate. Instead, you become magnetic, intriguing. Your life has its own direction. You're not scrambling for her approval. You're playing at your own pace. As you learn to give less attention, you don't become distant or unkind. You simply become the kind of man who values himself first, who knows that Stoic life is about balancing attention and independence. When she realizes your attention isn't unlimited, it creates a powerful dynamic. She begins to put in more effort, to dress better, to speak more sweetly, to work harder to get your focus back on her. This isn't manipulation. It's simply the result of scarcity meeting value. This principle is rooted in the ancient teachings of Stoicism. Value yourself, and others will value you. The less you give, the more she'll want. This natural tension creates a connection that's strong, lasting, and worth working for. So ask yourself, are you playing the relationship like a boring blowout, giving her the win before the game even starts? Or are you making it exciting, unpredictable, and worth showing up for? When you master the art of less attention, you turn the tables. Like the final seconds of a tied game, every moment becomes precious, and every move you make counts. And as the game of life unfolds, you'll see how much more she craves your attention, and how much stronger the bond between you becomes. Stoic lessons guide you here. When you control your presence, you control the dynamic. If you've made it this far, you understand the power of detachment and how it fuels desire. Most men fail to grasp this, staying stuck in the cycle of constant attention and predictability. Don't be one of them. Comment below with "I am the challenge and I am worth the wait." Let's get the conversation started. 6. Turning cold without becoming heartless. True strength lies not in being cold or unfeeling, but in mastering your emotions. To detach without becoming heartless, you must understand that self-respect is your highest priority. You cannot give everyone access to your emotional energy. Stoic principles teach us to control our responses, not to be controlled by them. As the great Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Similarly, your emotional wealth lies not in the attention you receive, but in your ability to detach from those who fail to respect your value. When a woman takes you for granted, pulling away is not a punishment. It's an act of self-preservation. You're not rejecting her. You're choosing to protect your energy and focus on your own growth. This is the mark of a man who values himself. Turning cold does not mean shutting down your humanity or becoming cruel. It's about controlling who gets access to your warmth. As a modern Stoic, you understand the importance of not becoming emotionally dependent on anyone. You shift your focus away from her and back to yourself. You become less available for trivial conversation, less eager to drop everything for her, and more committed to your goals, fitness, and growth. The absence of constant attention communicates your independence. Your world does not revolve around her anymore, and that shift in dynamic is powerful. Stoic principles guide you to remain respectful, but on your terms. When she reaches out, you respond calmly, but you no longer jump at her beck and call. You don't argue. You don't invest your emotions in unnecessary conflict. Instead, you show with your actions that you no longer seek her validation. This isn't heartlessness, it's self-respect with discipline. The power comes not from bitterness or rejection, but from simply living your life without needing her approval. When you detach in this way, you avoid resentment. You don't waste your emotional energy on someone who isn't giving you the respect you deserve. This creates a sense of emotional mastery, a powerful force that demands respect, not through force, but through discipline. Stoic principles teach us that we cannot control others, but we can control ourselves. You choose how much of yourself to give, and you refuse to allow anyone to drain your energy without reciprocation. Eventually, this shift may spark her to reconsider. She'll notice that you're less emotionally available, but you're not hostile. You're simply living your life with purpose and focus. Ironically, this is when she might start chasing the warmth she once took for granted. The key is to understand that detachment is not rejection. It's a powerful statement of self-respect. In the end, turning cold without becoming heartless is not a loss. It's a victory. It's the triumph of your self-worth over the demands of others. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Choose to focus on yourself and master your emotions. You're not closing doors forever. You're simply ensuring that they remain closed to anyone who doesn't treat you with the respect you've earned. You must cultivate this emotional discipline. Detach without losing your humanity. Be kind, but not emotionally exposed. Set the tone with calm control. This is how you master your life, your emotions, and your relationships. 7. Making detachment your permanent advantage. Detachment isn't just a strategy for tough moments. It's a lifestyle, a way of being. A man who makes detachment his permanent advantage becomes unshakable, immune to manipulation, guilt trips, and emotional upheavals. This isn't about being indifferent to women, love, or relationships. It's about refusing to tie your self-worth to them. Whether she stays or leaves, Whether her affection fades or intensifies, you remain steady. This stability, this ability to remain unmoved by temporary shifts in the world around you, is your power. When you adopt detachment as a permanent state, it's not about coldness, but about strength. The blessing of Stoicism is that it teaches you to detach your emotions from outcomes. Power, true power, comes from not needing the result to define you. When detachment becomes a part of who you are, your whole life changes. You stop fearing loss because you've already accepted that nothing in life is truly permanent. You stop overreacting to her moods, to her behavior, because you're no longer desperate for her approval. You're grounded, centered in yourself, and this groundedness makes you virtually unshakable. Women, just like anyone else in your life, are part of your existence, but they're not your whole existence. You don't build your world around her. Instead, your life is full of purpose. You have goals to chase, skills to master, a body to strengthen, and a mind to sharpen. This is the life of a modern Stoic, a man who is focused internally, whose energy and drive are directed toward personal growth, not external validation. The beauty of making detachment your permanent advantage is that it transcends relationships. It works in every area of your life, in business. Detachment keeps you from making impulsive, desperate decisions. In friendships, it guards you from one-sided loyalty and ensures you don't end up emotionally drained. In relationships, it keeps the balance of respect firmly in your corner. Why? Because when you're detached, your actions are not governed by emotion or need. They are guided by logic, purpose, and strength. And women can feel this. They can sense when a man is not desperate for their approval, when his happiness comes from within, not from her. This is where you become magnetic. You don't become cold or unloving. In fact, the opposite happens. Your attention becomes valuable because it's given freely, not out of need, but out of choice. A woman will always respect the man who values himself enough to walk away from disrespect or emotional manipulation. She will respect the man who isn't swayed by her moods, the man who knows when to walk away and when to stay. That respect isn't something you demand, it's something you earn by being in control of your own life. Detachment also frees you from the emotional roller coaster that so many men fall victim to. When you're attached to someone else's behavior, you become a slave to their emotional swings. You chase highs when she's affectionate, and you sink into lows when she pulls away. But when you're grounded in yourself, you no longer panic or over-celebrate based on her actions. You remain steady. You don't need her to validate you. And because of that, you're free from the emotional ups and downs that many men find so destructive. The ultimate truth here is simple when you master detachment. You flip the script. No longer are you the one hoping she chooses you. She's the one hoping you continue to choose her. This is the ultimate position of strength, the position where you are in control, and that's where you want to be. So, make detachment more than just a reaction to difficult times. Make it your default setting. Build a life so rich and so full that losing anyone, even her, won't shake you. Because when you can walk away at any time, you're not just in control of the relationship, you're in control of your life. Detachment is not about being cold, it's about being in control. A woman will always respect the man who knows his worth, who values himself enough to walk away from disrespect, neediness, or emotional games. When you stop chasing her, when you create scarcity and shift your focus back to your own mission, you become magnetic. She will see that your worth does not depend on her, and that is when respect, desire, and attraction return. Detachment when applied as a lifestyle move, will ensure that you're never at the mercy of someone else's choices. The man who can leave at any time is the man who truly wins. By making detachment your permanent advantage, you align yourself with the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches self-control, inner peace, and emotional independence. This is the power of the modern Stoic, the man who remains unshaken, no matter what life throws at him. Alright, that's it for today's video. If you found this content valuable, make sure to hit that like button, share it with anyone who might need to hear this, and subscribe for more insightful discussions. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. If you've got any feedback or want to dive deeper into the conversation, feel free to drop a comment below. Let's keep the discussion going. Remember, mastering the art of detachment isn't just about respecting others, but respecting yourself first. Stay strong, stay focused, and keep growing. See you in the next one.